Hi friends, welcome back to the channel and hope you are doing well. So in this particular video we'll be understanding AWS Amplify and AWS Cognito and how to integrate into the mobile application, and we'll be understanding the concept in this particular video. So without further delay, let's get started. So friends, now I'm in this particular blog post. So basically I have created for this post for you, and so in this particular video we'll be understanding the concept of AWS Cognito and AWS Amplify integration in the mobile application. So first let's understand what are these two terms, AWS Cognito and AWS Amplify. Basically these two particular one is AWS Cognito and Amplify. Both are how to use it in the mobile application, what is the importance of this, and let's understand in this particular video. The modern mobile applications require much more than the attractive user interface. Users expect secure authentication, fast login, data synchronization, cloud scalability and high availability. So basically अगर देखा जाए तो mobile application is not for not for showing some UI, और उसमें हम लोग बस UI में interaction user को just it's not about just showing the UI and interact something and do something. So इंटरनली उसमें बहुत सारा चीज़ होता है, जैसे कि हम उसको जो एप्लीकेशन जो है, व्हाट इज़ द पर्पस ऑफ दैट एप्लीकेशन, दैट इज़ इंपॉर्टेंट. लेट्स से कोई बैंकिंग एप्लीकेशन है और ई कॉमर्स एप्लीकेशन है, उसमें हम जो यूज़र क्रेडेंशियल जो रहता है, यूज़र का जो ऑथेंटिकेशन प्रोसेस रहता है, दैट इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वाई? बिकॉज जो हमारा क्लाइंट रहता है, क्लाइंट मीन्स दैट इज़ द मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन एंड द सर्वर इज़ द बैक एंड पार्ट. सो उसके बीच में देर आर मल्टीपल APIs, देर आर मल्टीपल कॉल्स हैपन्स फ्रॉम द लॉग इन till the screens you are using that particular application. So everywhere we need a proper authentication and authorization. Without this, there will be high possibility of data insecurity of the data, personal data, and there is some financial debt transaction, everything is there. So that is very important to secure everything. And also let's say in a e-commerce application, let's say we are using Amazon, Flipkart, everywhere. Okay, so whenever we are doing some payment and the order is placed, and at that time we are able to track that everything. But how these things are happen properly? Because there is every request, every response, we have to ensure, the application has to ensure proper authentication and authorization, that ensure the transaction will be verified. So that is very important. Otherwise हम यहाँ पे लॉगिन किए, हमें यहाँ पे ऑर्डर प्लेस कर दिया, और ऑर्डर जो है वो और किसी को जाके मिल गया. बैंक में हमने पैसा डिपॉजिट किया और विड्रॉ मतलब कोई और उसको और किसी के दूसरे का अकाउंट में वो चला जाएगा. सो इस तरह का प्रॉब्लम्स हो सकता है इफ़ वी आर नॉट डूइंग द ऑथेंटिकेशन एंड ऑथराइजेशन प्रोसेस प्रॉपरली. सो इस दैट फॉर दैट पर्पस only this authentication is very important, and AWS providing this particular service, AWS Cognito, which ensure all these things happens properly. So this is where AWS web services becomes extremely valuable as per this line. Okay, so two of the most powerful AWS services for mobile developers are AWS Cognito and AWS Amplify. So these two are, like, if you see the highlighted text, these two are very important to just to that login process and ensure the authentication successful. So basically we'll be understanding this. Now what is AWS Cognito? Let's understand a little bit brief. AWS Cognito is Amazon's fully managed identity and user authentication service. It provides everything required to securely authenticate users without building your own authentication server. Okay, so let me उसको मैं थोड़ा आपको explain करता हूँ क्या होता है. Let's say हम लोग we are not using this AWS authentication process. I mean Cognito, we are not going for this. We have to build the own login process. Let's say we are doing something, some application where we need to secure the login. We have to secure the user profiles, user data. Okay, so हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, हमें login का एक मॉड्यूल बनाना पड़ेगा. उसके लिए हमें साइन अप प्रोसेस करना पड़ेगा, साइन इन प्रोसेस का एक UI बनाना पड़ेगा, साइन इन का बनाना पड़ेगा, फॉरगॉट पासवर्ड का बनाना पड़ेगा, फिर डेटा को प्रॉपर्ली एनक्रिप्ट करके उसको भी हैंडल करना पड़ेगा सर्वर में. एंड उसके भी मतलब उसको हाउ टू वैलिडेट दैट प्रोसेस, सो दैट उसको भी हम प्रॉपरली डेटाबेस में उसको ऑथेंटिकेट करके वी हैव टू गेट इट बैक, एंड देन द नेक्स्ट प्रोसेस लाइक हाउ टू कॉल द अदर एपीआईज. तो ये सारी जो स्टेप्स है वी हैव टू डू इट मैनुअली इफ़ वी आर नॉट गोइंग विथ दिस AWS Cognito. Okay, so this is a way. There are some other options are there nowadays, but AWS Cognito is one of the best way we can do automate all this process using this particular service. So how to do that? So basically AWS Cognito can authenticate users through email and password, mobile number and OTP, Google sign in, Apple sign in, Facebook login, Amazon login, enterprise identity providers, OpenID connect providers. So इतना सारा जो प्रोसेस है, स्टेप्स है, इसके थ्रू हम ऑथेंटिकेट कर सकते हैं थ्रू द हेल्प ऑफ AWS Cognito. ईमेल आईडी एंड पासवर्ड, मोबाइल नंबर एंड OTP के साथ भी हम कर सकते हैं. एंड वी कैन यूज़ थर्ड पार्टी अदर प्रोवाइडर्स लाइक गूगल साइन इन, एप्पल साइन इन, फेसबुक लॉगिन, अमेजन लॉगिन, ये सब भी हम कर सकते हैं. देन एंटरप्राइज आइडेंटिटी प्रोवाइडर SAML, इसको भी हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं. OpenID कनेक्ट प्रोवाइडर्स, ये सारे कॉन्सेप्ट भी हम AWS Cognito को यूज़ करके हम वी कैन अवेल ऑल दिस थिंग्स. So that is how this kind of multiple scenarios we can handle using the help of AWS Cognito. Okay, so ठीक है, अभी नेक्स्ट हम जाते हैं why authentication matters. Authentication is one of the most critical component of any application. जैसे मैंने आपको बोला ऑथेंटिकेशन इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज यूजर का जो डेटा है, जो उसका प्रोफाइल है, उसका जो उसको हमें प्रॉपरली ऑथेंटिकेट करना चाहिए. इफ़ दैट इज, अगर कोई यूज़र साइन अप किया हुआ है तुम्हारा एप्लीकेशन में या कोई भी एप्लीकेशन में, तो उस यूज़र को वैलिडेट एवरीवेयर दैट यूज़र मीन्स व्हेन दैट यूज़र विल बी यूज द एप्लीकेशन, how application will know that this is the right person. So for that thing authentication is very important. Okay. So poor authentication implementation can expose user information, compromise accounts and many security vulnerabilities, right? So अगर let's say हम authentication proper नहीं है, these are the things we have to face, these are the problems. एक तो है user information expose हो सकता है, अकाउंट कंप्रोमाइज हो सकता है, एंड सिक्योरिटी वल्नरेबिलिटीज भी हो सकता है. सो दैट आर द थिंग्स वी कैन फेस. सो AWS Cognito follows industry standard security practices including, ठीक है. Now what AWS Cognito basically follow, so it basically follows some industry standard security practices including OAuth 2.0. OAuth 2.0 is a standard actually. It's a authentication standard, okay. And OpenID Connect, OIDC, this is also a standard. JWT tokens, these are all standards like authentication process के लिए. These are some of the standards, industry standards authentication process, okay. So AWS follows all these things. One is OAuth 2.0, OpenID Connect, then JWT tokens, multi-factor authentication, password policies, device tracking, encryption, secure token management. So basically these are the industry standard practices what AWS Cognito also follows. Okay, yeah. So next move to the next point. So where what are the major components of AWS Cognito? AWS Cognito basically it works with some of the criteria, some of the things like basically first point is user pools. सो यूज़र पूल हमें पहले AWS सर्विस, जैसे हम AWS में जाते हैं वहाँ पे लॉगिन करते हैं. AWS में अगर अकाउंट नहीं है तो पहले साइन अप करना पड़ेगा, फिर हमें लॉगिन करना पड़ेगा. लॉगिन करने के बाद वहाँ पे यूज़र पूल पहले क्रिएट करना पड़ता है, ठीक है. यूज़र पूल क्रिएट करना पड़ता है, आइडेंटिटी पूल क्रिएट करना पड़ता है. दीज आर द प्रोसेस, बट वो हमें इन द नेक्स्ट अनदर वीडियो आई विल बी गोइंग यू थ्रू सम ऑफ द प्रैक्टिकल डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन हाउ द यूज़र पूल्स कैन बी क्रिएटेड इन AWS. बट यहाँ पे हम पहले अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं कि व्हाट लाइक द कंसेप्ट वाइज पहले हम जाते हैं, अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं. इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो आई विल बी गोइंग यू थ्रू सम प्रैक्टिकल डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन ऑफ दिस. ओके, सो पहले तो कंपोनेंट्स, मेजर कंपोनेंट में क्या आ गया पहले, यूजर पूल, राइट. दिस इज द, इफ यू सी द हाईलाइटेड टेक्स्ट, दिस इज द यूजर पूल. तो यूजर पूल क्या होता है? यूजर पूल एक्ट्स एज ए यूजर डायरेक्टरी. ओके, सो एंड दे मैनेज यूजर रजिस्ट्रेशन, login, password reset, email verification, OTP verification, MFA, user profiles, JWT token generation. Think of user pools as your application's authentication database, right? जैसे कि मैंने अभी आपको बताया, पहले तो यूज़र पूल हमें क्रिएट करना पड़ता है AWS Cognito सर्विस के अंडर हमें एक यूज़र पूल हमें क्रिएट करना पड़ता है, तो दैट विल हैंडल ऑल दिस थिंग्स. सो इट्स काइंड ऑफ authentication database, right? So you just understand this is a step number 1. Then step number 2 is another component is identity pools, right? Identity pools क्या होता है? So basically it provides temporary AWS credential. These credentials allow authenticated users to securely access AWS resources such as. So identity pools means like there is some AWS give you some AWS it will provide you some AWS credential. It will give you some permission to use the services, right? That is how identity pools. Basically the first one is the user pool that will allow you to do all these things like user registration, login, password reset and all. And identity pool will allow you to access to the AWS services, right? That is, there are some services of AWS like Amazon S3, DynamoDB, Lambda, API Gateway, AppSync. These are some services which you can be it can be allowed by the identity pools. That is how it is. Okay, so basically these are the two components, major components of AWS Cognito. That is point number 1. Then next is AWS Amplify. तो हमें अभी AWS Cognito के बारे में थोड़ा आइडिया हुआ, राइट? अभी हम AWS Amplify समझते हैं वो क्या होता है, ठीक है? तो AWS Amplify is a development platform that simplifies integration of AWS services into mobile and web application. बेसिकली क्या होता है, मैं थोड़ा आपको बताता हूँ क्या होता है. थोड़ा मतलब बेसिकली क्या होता है, लेट्स से हमें AWS Cognito हमें यूज करना है मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन में. अभी AWS Cognito क्या करेगा, दैट विल हेल्प अस to integrate the authentication process, right? So that like sign in, sign up and password reset and authenticate MFA, all these things हमें that will help. AWS Cognito will help us to do that. But अगर हमें उसको integrate करना है, there is some manual process. We have to go to the AWS portal and there we have to do all these formalities, like we have to create user pool, identity pool, and then there are some client code that we have to integrate, and there is some steps we have to follow. But these are some process we have to do it. Okay, there is some lengthy process. But AWS Amplify क्या करेगा? AWS Amplify is a platform that simplifies all these steps, right? It will simplifies integration of AWS services into mobile and web application. So this is a like a helper. This is a helper service. We can understand like that. So ये हमारा जो काम है ना, कोई भी हम सर्विसेज यूज करते हैं AWS का, AWS Amplify उसको सिंप्लीफाई करता है. तो हमें अभी देखेंगे अभी वो कैसे how AWS Amplify simplifies all these things. Let's understand bit more on this. Okay, so it enables developers to integrate cloud features using only a few lines of code. That is right. So this is how it helps. So okay, so Amplify supports Android, iOS, Flutter, React Native, React, Angular, Vue, Next.js. These are the some of the platforms it supports, right? So that's good. Like at least for mobile application, everything is all these platforms it supports, right? Okay, so why use AWS Amplify? हम AWS Amplify क्यों यूज़ करेंगे फिर? Let's understand that. पहले तो ये समझते हैं कि अगर AWS Amplify नहीं है, what are the things we need to do? Okay, configure AWS SDK manually. So we have to manually configure the AWS SDK, then handle authentication tokens, right? Then manage API request, then configure storage, write networking code, handle session refresh, manage credentials. So जितना सारा steps आपको यहाँ पे आपको highlighted है ना, these are the things we have to do manually if we are not using the AWS Amplify. So Amplify basically क्या करता है, it will simplify our task, right? So as per the naming convention, it basically Amplify actually simplify the AWS integration, right? That is what it is. So इसका क्या क्या feature है? AWS Amplify features. Amplify offers several powerful modules. Basically authentication, it helps to it can directly help with the authentication process. Integrated with Cognito. That is step number 1. Then next is API integration. Amplify connects easily with Amazon API Gateway, AWS Lambda, GraphQL APIs, REST APIs. So also using the help of Amplify, we can achieve all these things as well. Apart from this authentication, also we can do this. So AWS Amplify is very useful thing to understand, right? So then also it helps in storage. Amplify provides secure file storage using Amazon S3. Application can upload images, videos, documents, PDFs, audio files and all. So that is possible by the help of Amplify as well. Okay. The next is analytics. Amplify also integrates with Amazon pinpoints to collect user engagement, sessions, screen views and events. Okay, it also helps in push notifications. Amplify supports push notification through AWS services. Then data synchronization. Amplify data stores allows offline first applications where data automatically synchronizes once internet connectivity becomes available. So data synchronization is also can be possible using the help of Amazon Amplify. So Amazon Amplify जो है that service helps a lot to simplify the API, the integration of AWS services. So this is simple. So अभी तक हमने क्या समझा? There are two things we are actually going through. One is Amazon Cognito, AWS Cognito and AWS Amplify. AWS Cognito का काम क्या है? That will do the authentication process. That will take care of all the authentication process. Okay. And AWS Amplify will simplify the integration. So that is why if we use the two things, like our main purpose is to securely integrate the authentication process in the mobile application, and Amazon Amplify will help to easily integrate all these things. So that is what Amazon Amplify is. So now अभी यहाँ पे हम थोड़ा उसको स्टेप बाय स्टेप जाते हैं, उसका जो फ्लो है जो that let's understand that. First thing is user will come to the mobile application, right? Then mobile application will use the AWS Amplify SDK. AWS Amplify SDK is the next step. Then AWS Amplify SDK will call the AWS Cognito. Cognito will take care of the authentication, right? Then authentication will be taken care by AWS Cognito. Then authentication going further, it will generate the AWS token, JWT token. Then that JWT token will be sent to the API gateway to authenticate in the backend side. Then it will call the another service, that is Lambda, then database. So these are the steps. Like this is a common understanding. Like let's say means how the process happens using the help of Amplify and Cognito. So this is how the sequence diagram or you can say flow diagram of this particular concept. Okay. So Amplify acts as the client SDK. Cognito performs the authentication. The mobile app receives secure JWT token. Okay, so अभी यहाँ पे आपको एक पिक्चर दिख रहा है. This is the image. इस इमेज में हम थोड़ा अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं, लाइक ग्राफिकल रिप्रेजेंटेशन. इसमें हम समझते हैं कि ओवरऑली कैसे वर्क करता है ये चीज़. ठीक है, तो आप यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं एक यूज़र है. यूज़र क्या करेगा? मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन में जाएगा. लेट्स से आपका एक बैंकिंग एप्लीकेशन है. ठीक है, बैंकिंग एप्लीकेशन में आप क्या करते हैं? पहले आप लॉगिन करते हैं. या तो आप पहले साइन अप करोगे, या तो अगर साइन अप किए हो फिर लॉगिन करते हो. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड दिस प्रोसेस, साइन इन और साइन अप, राइट? तो कोई भी प्रोसेस है, जैसे हम साइन अप करते हैं या तो साइन इन करते हैं, तो पहले हम फर्स्ट इंट्रैक्शन में वही करते हैं. ठीक है, तो नेक्स्ट स्टेप में क्या होता है? जब यहाँ से रिक्वेस्ट जाता है वो कौन हैंडल करता है? AWS Amplify SDK. AWS Amplify SDK क्या करता है यहाँ पे? इट विल टेक द इनपुट लाइक साइन इन और साइन अप, जो भी इनपुट है वो यहाँ से एक्सेप्ट करेगा. ठीक है, वो यहाँ पे एक्सेप्ट करने के बाद दैट डेटा इट विल सेंड टू AWS Cognito, राइट? सो जैसे यहाँ पे यूज़र पूल यहाँ पे बनता है. लेट्स से साइन अप आप करते हो ना, तो साइन अप में क्या होगा? यूज़र पूल में वो ऐड होगा, आपका जो डेटा जो है ना वो यूज़र पूल में ऐड होगा. दैट इज द स्टेप नंबर 1. देन उसका एक वेरिफिकेशन होता है, आपका ईमेल वेरिफिकेशन होगा. ईमेल वेरिफिकेशन में आप करेक्ट यूज़र हो कि नहीं वो आइडेंटिफाई होगा. उसके बाद आपका यहाँ पे यूज़र पूल में यूज़र ऐड हो गया. दैट इज़ द साइन अप प्रोसेस, राइट? देन क्या होता है? आपने लॉगिन किया. लॉगिन करने के बाद फिर AWS Amplify SDK जो है दैट विल टेक योर इनपुट एंड इट विल अगेन सेंड टू द Cognito. सो Cognito में वो वैलिडेट करेगा. वैलिडेट करने के बाद वो क्या होगा? दैट विल रिटर्न यू द JWT टोकन, राइट? JWT टोकन कहाँ पे आएगा, फिर आपको आ जाएगा आपका डिवाइस में आ जाएगा, ठीक है। तो JWT टोकन विल हैंडल बाय अगेन दिस एम्पलीफाई टू सेव इट एंड फर्दर यूज इट, राइट। सो नेक्स्ट क्या होगा, व्हेन द डिवाइस विल receive that JWT token, that JWT token will be sent for the further access. let's say आपने लॉगिन किया, लॉगिन सक्सेस हो गया, लॉगिन के बाद आप अभी आपका ट्रांजैक्शन देखना चाहते हो, लेट्स से, और यू वांट टू सेंड सम मनी टू सम सम अनदर अकाउंट और समवन एल्स। सो बहुत सारे जो प्रोसेस अभी नेक्स्ट हम जाएंगे, उसके लिए क्या होगा, कोई भी पर्टिकुलर रिक्वेस्ट के लिए हम उस रिक्वेस्ट के साथ JWT टोकन को भी हम सेंड करेंगे, राइट, दैट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट। तो लेट्स से JWT टोकन के साथ एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर रिक्वेस्ट बॉडी जो भी रहेगा वो कहाँ पे जाएगा, AWS आप गेटवे और API गेटवे में वो जाएगा, ठीक है। AWS गेटवे में वो जो JWT टोकन यहाँ पे भेजेगा, तो देन अगेन दैट पर्टिकुलर API विल वैलिडेट वेदर दैट टोकन इज करेक्ट और नॉट विद द JWT, I mean AWS Cognito, right? So again once it is validated, then that will going further, like it will go to the access the data or whatever it is, let's say it will do that particular transaction. So इस तरह का होता है process, and this is the overall diagram of how it is. Okay, so let's going further. Authentication flow. So a typical login process looks like this. User opens the app, user enter email and password, Amplify sends authentication request as I have explained in this particular diagram. So basically step 1 is user open the app, then user enters email and password. Let's say sign up is already done, so it's logging in with the email and password, okay. Then Amplify sends authentication request. So Amplify SDK will take care of sending the authentication process. Then okay, the next step is Cognito validates the credential, that is already we have discussed. Then Cognito generates the JWT token, right. Next step is Amplify stores token securely. Once we receive, Amplify will receive that JWT token, it will save it securely, okay. Then API requests automatically include the token. When further API calls, that JWT token will be included in the API. Then API gateway validates the token. Definitely API gateway, when it will receive that particular JWT token with the request, it will validate that token is correct or not with the with what? It will validate with this Cognito, right. Then once it is validated, Lambda process the request, right. After the validation done, the Lambda will process the request. So it's a kind of function that will process that particular request after the validation completes. Then response returns to the application, right. So this is the overall flow how AWS Cognito works with the help of Amplify, right. Okay, so now let's understand what is the benefit of using Cognito plus Amplify. Okay, first thing is how AWS follows enterprise grade security practices. Features include JWT, OAuth, MFA, encryption, IAM integration, okay. Then reduce backend development. Developers don't need to create login API, session APIs, password reset APIs, token management. So basically जब हम because if we are not using AWS Cognito or using the Amplify, then users has to, the application has to do its manual way, like login APIs, session APIs, and these are the different APIs we need to do it manually, but these are not required when we are using the Cognito plus Amplify, right. Then scalability, whether your application has 100 users, 10,000 users, 10 million users, that doesn't matter. So AWS can be scale up everything, so it can scale up to its it can even scale up to 10 million users. That is how it is, okay. Then cross platform support. The same backend works for Android, iOS, Flutter and React Native. So basically it can be used in the native as well as the hybrid application. So the process is same, little bit different way we have to do, but it is almost similar way we have to do in the native as well as in the hybrid applications. Then next is easy integration. Amplify requires very little code compared to traditional AWS SDK integration. तो यहाँ पे एक चीज़ है कि Amplify helps us to make it more simplifier. If let's say we are not using Amplify and just we are going to use this AWS Cognito, then also there is some more steps we have to do Amplify additionally helps it to minimize that steps, and so it really helpful for both to use it. I mean both Amplify and Cognito together we have to use it. Okay, then enterprise ready. Large organizations must large organizations trust Cognito because it supports SSO, Active Directory, corporate login, and IAM roles. So these are some enterprise ready. Because it supports SSO and Active Directory, corporate login, and IAM roles. So these are also advantages which Cognito also provides. Okay, the next is real world use cases. सो रियल वर्ल्ड यूज़ केसेस क्या है इसका वो भी समझते हैं यहाँ पे. तो बेसिकली आज आई हैव टोल्ड यू इन द बैंकिंग एप्लीकेशन एंड हेल्थ केयर ऐप्स, बिकॉज पेशेंट जो होता है, पेशेंट का जो डेटा होता है, दैट इज़ वेरी वेरी क्रूशियल, एंड फॉर दैट थिंग that also need to be that data also need to be properly authenticated. And e-commerce apps also is very crucial, like everything the data of user need to be properly passed on in the request, and that is also important. Basically in the banking application, healthcare apps, and e-commerce, food delivery app, education platforms, enterprise applications, everywhere it is important to authentication process need to be very very good. Authentication need to be properly secure. So that is why Cognito using the help of Amplify is very much need to be understand. Okay, so authentication method includes email login, phone login, social login, MFA. So multi-factor authentication. Okay, so that is how it is. Okay, so now let's understand also in the iOS integration, like some of the part we understand in the Android and in the iOS how it happens. So basically it is the same process only. So it supports iOS developers can integrate using Swift UI, UIKit. Amplify provides native support for Apple platforms while keeping authentication consistent across Android and iOS. So yeah, so next goes to the Flutter integration. Flutter developers can use Amplify Flutter packages to build a single code base for Android and iOS, right? So Flutter is a hybrid platform that code base can be compiled for the Android and iOS both. So here there are some packages which helps to do this: Amplify _ Flutter, Amplify _ Auth _ Cognito, Amplify _ API, Amplify _ Storage _ S3. So these are some packages need to use to do this. Okay, some of the best practices, let's go through it. So to build secure and reliable apps, enable multi-factor authentication, use strong password policies, protect sensitive APIs with Cognito authorizes, store tokens securely using platform provided secure storage such as Android Key Store and iOS Keychain, right? Grant the minimum required permissions using IAM roles. Monitor authentication events with Amazon CloudWatch. So these are some best practices we need to follow. Okay, so let's understand some common challenges. Like ऐसा नहीं कि हम easily ये सब कर लेंगे. There are some challenges also. There might be some challenges also we can face. So what are those? Initial AWS account setup, right? So account setup करना वो भी एक we have to do that. So that is also step. Then understanding IAM permissions and roles, like access and identity management जो होता है ना, that this is actually also a service of AWS. So that also we need to understand. Okay, then environment management for development, staging, and production. Environment management also, that part also we need to understand. This is also actually directly connect with the AWS. Then migrating existing users from other identity providers, that is also need to be taken care of in a application where we also need some migrating some existing users from other identity providers. So that is also sometimes it requires to do that, also we need to take care. Okay, then controlling cloud cost as applications scale, right? So basically this is not always a free service. So depending upon the skill and depending upon the user base, it will be cost. So for that thing we have to check like how to minimize and how to control the cost of the server. That also we need to take care. So these are the common challenges that is very important. We need to take care of that. Okay, so when should you choose AWS Cognito प्लस Amplify, तो हम किस केस में हम इसको चूज़ करेंगे, ठीक है। तो एक तो है हमें अभी पता चला कि व्हाट आर द बेनिफिट्स एंड व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस, देन वी हैव टू डिसाइड वाइजली, लाइक कब हम इसको यूज़ करना चाहिए। ऐसा तो नहीं कि सब चीज़ में हम कग्निटो हमें चाहिए एंड एम्पलीफाई हमें यूज, एम्पलीफाई एंड कग्निटो हम सारे एप्लीकेशन में तो नहीं चाहिए. So that we have to decide, like in which case we need to use that. That is also need to understand. Then what are those things? First thing is secure user authentication. Let's say an application that actually needs secure user authentication, then only we need to go with this. Okay, so ऐसा बहुत सारा application है जिसका login मतलब जो authentication is not, no need for strong authentication. Okay, in that case it's fine, no need to use that. But जहाँ पे हमें चाहिए, then we have to go for it. First thing is secure user authentication, then social sign-in providers, passwordless or OTP-based login, then scalable cloud infrastructure, fast backend integration, offline-ready synchronization, file storage with Amazon S3, REST or GraphQL APIs, enterprise-grade security. So these are some of the things. If these are important for us or for the application, then we have to go for it. Okay. So let's now we reach the conclusion of this particular post, and let's understand some of the last statement of this particular post. AWS Cognito and AWS Amplify provides a powerful foundation for modern mobile applications. Cognito delivers secure, standard-based authentication and identity management, while Amplify simplifies the integration of authentication, APIs, storage, analytics, and other cloud capabilities into Android, iOS, and Flutter apps. Right? So the last words ये जो यहाँ पे लिखा है, that means simple. So Cognito क्या करता है? Cognito will helps us to securely authenticate to the application, and Amplify हमें क्या करता है? Amplify will help to simplify that process. That's it. Okay. And by using these managed services, development teams can spend less time building and maintaining backend infrastructure and more time creating features, right? So ठीक है, अभी हमें ये समझ में आया कि using the help of AWS Cognito, we can do all this authentication process automatically. I mean, we don't have to manually create all these APIs. For that, हम इस सर्विस का यूज़ करके हम we can achieve all this secure authentication process using the help of Cognito, and Amplify that actually simplify all this process. So I hope you understand the concept how these two services works, and please, if you like this particular video, please hit that subscribe button, and keep on sharing to others, and if you feel it is helpful. And also I'll be coming in another video with some demonstration of this particular stop. And mobile application ka authentication process is very important. That is why I thought to just cover this particular topic. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.